Module 4, Part D, Getting Started with Bootstrap Part 2. In this part, first I want to talk about questions in Project 1. I just look at the submission, Project 1 submission, 11 students submitted. Still, there are 12 students have not submitted this project. So I feel some of you may have a lot of questions. So I want to go through these 5 questions. In some relatively hard part, I explain how to solve the problems. So for those who still have some difficulties in solving these problems, so after my hints, I hope you can solve all these problems. All right, so let me go through one by one. The first question, it is pretty easy. Here we have a table. We just use a table to do it. Okay, If you want to use other ways, it's okay. But for me, when I design this question, I want to make it very easy so everyone can get it. So you just use a simple table with 2 rows, 2 columns. But the first row, you span 2 columns. 2 columns. All right. And after that, you find images. What images? Not important. Not necessarily the images I used here. If you like to use my images, you can find it in my zip file. In my problem description, I also upload a zip file. If you download that, you can find a folder containing many images. So you can find 3 images just I used here. Then you make each image connect to a URL through that hyperlink, right? Hyperlink, that A element, anchor A element, okay? href, right? Okay. So this way, remember, I gave one question in exercise. So somewhere, I couldn't remember which one, but just one of our exercise questions. I asked you if we can make an image as a hyperlink. Remember that? Here, in this question, we practice that. Okay? All right, so this one, very easy. So you won't miss this one. The second one, a little harder, but if you find the right way to do it, then it is pretty easy. Some students try to use JavaScript to change. If you do that way, it could be very complicated. So here we have an easy solution. Here I give you the reference. Module 2, part B.2, page 2. So you can find the location about this feature. Here I just copy the main part. We use the iframe. Iframe, we embed, embed, iframe called inline frame, inline frame. So we embed video here. So the source src, we put our video URL. So each video, here, let's assume our video source comes from YouTube. From YouTube, you have any video, you can find its URL. Okay, copy in the bar, so you can copy the whole URL. So we put it here. Then we give a name of this iframe, some name of this iframe, because later we need to use this name to show a different video URL in this element. Yeah. After that, the second element, just the anchor element, hyperlink. Yeah. And in that, each ref, you use a different video URL. Just put there, different video URL. Okay. So then you can display the titles. Here I display 5 video titles. Yeah. Each one has their video URL. Okay. Yeah. The URL format is like this. In the YouTube, yeah. So usually you have things like that. Okay. Yeah. All right. After that, then it works. Yeah. So you display, when you click, you will see the video displayed in the main player area. Yeah. So you can play there. Yeah, right there. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that is, if you find it this way, pretty straightforward. Yeah. And another thing, yeah, some student asked me a question about this one. I noticed one student, the source, they embed HTML file. That's not good. Because if you embed HTML file in this display area, you see the whole HTML page. So that's not what we want. We only want to see the video part. We don't want to see other, top, bottom, side. We don't want to see other parts. Yeah. Only the video part. So, because in this way, we can simulate a simple video player. Okay, yeah. So the way, you do not use HTML page, the whole HTML page. You just use the video URL there. Yeah, so that's simple. So that's the question number 2. Number 3, chessboard. Draw chessboard. And I ask you to use HTML. Oh, what's that? I ask you to use HTML plus CSS. Yeah. There are many ways to do the same thing. Yeah. Different programming languages, they have the graphics functionality. Yeah, so they support. Definitely you can use different ways to do the same thing. But for this class, it is a introduction to web technology class. In this class, we want to practice HTML and CSS. So we don't want to practice other technologies. Yeah. So keep that in your mind. Yeah. Otherwise, if you use different technologies to produce this same thing, you will still lose points. Yeah. Not satisfy the requirements. Okay. All right. Try to understand and use HTML, CSS features here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now let me give you several points to complete this question. First, use a table to make square blocks. So here you can see we have a grid structure, right? A grid structure. For the grid structure, the easiest way to do that, table. Okay? Yeah. Here you can see we don't try to avoid table. Yeah. It's not necessary. Yeah. Some people really recommend to not using any table. Yeah, but my view, so my understanding, sometimes tables still very useful. Okay, yeah. Here, let us just use the table way to do it. Yeah. Very simple, very straightforward. Yeah. All right. So with that, when you use a table, so here, main part table, the table part inner div element. So here you can see there is an inner and outer. This inner part, it is a div element. It contains a table inside. Okay. Contains, if you use div or not table, it may not be important. Okay? If you use a div or not, it may not be important, but you just have a table there. Okay, you just have a table there. So this inner div or not, it may not be that important. But you can think about that. If you like, if you need, you can use that div. But you have freedom to choose. But we have the, background image. Background image, we use outer div element. So there is a outside div element, and we put another element, table element inside it, nest it. And in that way, we can adjust left space, top space, okay, position, relative or absolute, so you can make your decision. So then we can adjust, but you also adjust the size. Okay, how to put the image there? Some students like to put the layers. Remember, we can put layers. So that is one way. But another way, so we do not do the layers. We use this property, CSS property, background-image property, colon. Then URL, you specify the image file location. For my example, I put my images in an images folder, then / image file name. Just to make sure you point to the right location of your image. So then it could be displayed. Some students I saw, they connect to online URL. It also works. One student used online URL of an image. It also works. All right. So that is the number 2. Number 3, then display the font upside down. Upside down. See these characters. It is very simple. If you use a special CSS property called a transform, rotate, parenthesis, 180 degree, DEG, degree. So then you rotate 180 degree, so upside down. So that's simple. So you define a class. In a class, you put this line, this property. In your class, you may have several properties, right? One of them, you use this. Okay, So in this way, you can show, this kind of, effect. So very simple. You can try it. So for those 12 students, so you can get all these things. Then question number 4. This one, I do not have a lot of explanation because the requirements very straightforward. But there is one thing I like to point out, because one student asked me this question, so I want to point it out. Regarding the data validation, remember, the user can put one number here at the left-hand side. The user can also put another number at the right-hand side, right? So that student asked me, the program could get confused. So which side number used to do the calculation to display at the other side? But if you follow the instructions, requirements of our project for this question, there is no such confusion. Because in my requirement, when you have one number at the left-hand side, if the user just click the right-hand side, on focus, right? Click, on focus, then your JavaScript function set this to nothing immediately. So what do you see? Erase the number at the left-hand side and display the number at the right-hand side automatically. Yeah. So only one number is displayed. So when you do the conversion, there is no confusion. Yeah. Similarly, so you have some number at the right-hand side, then a user just click the left-hand side, then your JavaScript function remove the number at the right-hand side automatically and do the calculation on the number at the left-hand side. So that's simple. Okay? Yeah. So other than this possible problem, yeah. So I don't think any hard understanding part in this question. Yeah. So you can easily, using our examples, yeah. In our modules 3, if you find several JavaScript examples, so you can easily use some of the features to solve this problem. Okay. All right. So that's the question number 4. The last one and the hardest one. Yeah. For our project 1, 5 questions, this is the hardest. A little challenging. Yeah, but it should be fun for many of you to solve this problem. Now, here, I believe there are many different ways, but here I just use my, a way I feel, not very complicated, yeah, relatively, using what we have learned, so we can find a solution in this way. But still, there are many steps. Now, first, draw a ring with a tiny gap. Now, here, this kind of thing is very special. Why tiny gap? Let me explain. There is some interesting reason behind it. Okay, tiny gap. Now, first, we just want to draw a ring because 5 rings, we need to draw one by one. So we need to draw one ring first. When we draw the first ring, so you can see here in my picture, if you examine closely, you can see on top there is a small tiny gap there. Why is that? You will see this tiny gap is important. Why? Because we want to fill the region. We want to fill a region. In order to define that region, we need to draw a closed curve. So we need to define a closed curve. If without that little tiny gap, it is very hard to define a closed curve. Yeah, the boundary of the closed curve, it is very hard to define it. Okay? Yeah, for that reason, so we need to define a closed curve to produce this ring, to fill the region, to produce this ring. All right, so here, let me show you the idea. All right, how to define a closed curve. First, draw external ring. Here you can see clockwise, right? The first time, leave some gap. All right. After that, move to inner circle. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Draw a line. Then draw arc counterclockwise. Yeah. And stop. Okay. Near the end. Then close curve. Close it. Okay. When after you define this region using outline of the boundary, then the filling part knows how to fill the region in this way. Okay? Yeah. Then you get that ring. Yeah. Yeah. So this is an idea. Yeah. Although you may have different ways to do it, yeah, but this is one way to do it. Yeah. All right. The reference I'd like you to see in our module 3 A1, part A1, page 7. We have that similar example, so you can use in that page, we have two examples, but do not use this one. Yeah, many students tend to use this example. Yeah, two circles, inner, outer. So fill the outer circle, the inner, use white color to erase the inner part. If you use that and overlap part, two rings overlap, then one ring inner part will erase another ring. Yeah, the other ring. Yeah. In that one, it is not easy to recover the erased part. Yeah. So that may not work. Yeah. But this one, the way we used this one can help us produce this ring. Yeah. So let me show you the idea. Yeah. Arc, this is the function to draw arc. Okay. So this is the coordinates of the center. Then radius, start angle, end angle, anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise, true means anti-clockwise. False, the default false clockwise. Okay, default false clockwise. Yeah. Then, so let me explain the command. We use this function to draw the ring. Yeah. All right. So this is the drawing part from this example. Yeah. So let me explain the meaning. Yeah. I hope you understand the meaning. Yeah. First, begin path. We need to define a path. Then we fill. Okay. The path. So look at this whole thing. It is a path. Okay. We define a path. So your path should enclose a region. Okay? Then you can fill the region by some color. Yeah, that idea. Okay? All right, so we begin path. Yeah. Then center 500, 200. Yeah. Remember the coordinate system. Upper left corner, that's the 0, 0. Upper left corner location of the origin. So this is origin. Okay. All right. Then x-axis, y-axis in this way. Yeah. Not like our usual math coordinate system. Different. Upside down. The Java coordinate system. Okay. Yeah. So you may feel weird. Try to get used to this coordinate system. All right. So then radius 50 pixels. Yeah. Then pi, math.pi, pi over 7, the start angle. Start angle, but in the circle, the line, start angle, positive angle start from, going down. Going down, that's the positive angle. Going up, that's the negative angle. Okay? Negative, positive. All right? So pi over 7 positive. So that means this is pi over 7 positive. Okay? Then false means clockwise, right? So you rotate along the clockwise. Okay? Stop at negative pi over 7. Negative pi over 7. Okay? All right. So right now, your cursor is here. This is your cursor. Okay? Then line 2, yeah, you draw a line and stop at this center 500, 200. All right. Then you do not need to connect these 2 points. No need to connect. Yeah. Yeah. Because the function will do the connection automatically for you. So you don't do the connection. Okay? You do connect. Yeah. All right. So this part you do not need to draw a line. No need. Yeah. the function will make the last line segment automatically. Okay? After that, you just fill it. Fill the region, then it will be filled. Yeah. All right, after you understand that one, then you look at drawing this ring with a tiny gap, you can understand the way easily. So let me show you how to draw this ring with tiny gap. Here, we use these lines, these function calls. Yeah. First, we build a path. So we define the outline of the region. Yeah. All right. Look at the gap. How do I make that gap? First, negative pi over 2. Yeah. What is the location? Negative pi over 2. Okay? Remember, above the horizontal line, it's negative. Below the horizontal line, it's positive direction. Okay? Pi over 2, right angle, right? Negative pi over 2, that's this part. Yeah, this point. Yeah. Okay? Negative pi, so negative pi over 2 plus 0.01. So that's here. Yeah. So you start here. Okay? Then clockwise, and it's and negative pi over 2 minus 0.01. So you leave some small gap. Okay? So you get external. Then you line 2, you move 2. Yeah. So you do the calculation. Yeah. Here I did some calculation. Here the reason I put the gap at top is it's easier to figure the location of the starting point of the inner circle, inner arc. It is relatively easier to figure that this location. Yeah. So that's the reason I put on top. Yeah. You can put a bottom, different locations, but the bottom line is you make it easier to determine the location. Yeah. All right. So I figured that out. Then draw reverse circle. Okay. All right. So then I have the outline. Then I call the function to fill. I set the color. Before the fill, I set blue color. So then fill it. So you get that. So you get that. Yeah. All right. But later, we need to cover this tiny gap. Yeah, because it does not look very good. We want to cover it. Yeah. So we need to draw a small patch, put on top of it. Yeah. So our step 2, we cover the tiny gap. Here you can see this one, we cannot see the gap. Yeah. How to do it? Very easy. Yeah. So this time, I want to draw a region like this, okay, to cover it. Yeah. So in that location, around negative pi over 2, so I use a little larger area, so 0.03, yeah, to cover 0.01, yeah, the gap 0.01. So I might make my region a little larger so I can cover it seamlessly, yeah. And I also figure out, estimate, approximate that location, so you can estimate. Yeah. So then do it, fill, same way. Yeah. All right. So now, after that, if you understand it this way, then we can do similar things on all 5 rings. Okay. So next, all 5 rings. So we get something like that. But in order to do exactly the same thing as the requirement, the Olympic rings requirement, you need to work on the overlapped portions the same way as in the given picture. Yeah. All right, so here you can see we need to fix this part. Yeah. And we also need to fix, look at that, this part. Okay. Also, we need to fix this part. Okay. And the last one, that part. So you can see we need to cover these four places, okay, to make it look exactly the same as the original picture. Yeah. How to do it? Here you can see after I covering those four places, you can see, yeah, exactly like the original picture. Yeah. All right. How do I do it? Here I just show you one place. Okay, this place. I show you how do I cover that. Yeah. I do careful calculation. I do some very careful calculation. Still, the same way as we did before, right? Yeah, because here we just want to draw the ring of this part. Yeah. The start angle, end angle, we need to figure out. Yeah. So the start angle, so look at pi over 6. Yeah. So pi over 6. So that's this one. Pi over 6. We know pi over 6 equals 30 degrees, right? Pi over 6 radian equals 30 degrees. So we start here, 30 degrees. Okay. All right. Arc. Yeah. All right. So 0 is the starting angle. Yeah. 30 degree, that's the end angle. Okay. Counterclockwise, false clockwise. Then line 2, there you need to calculate this location. Here I calculate 256 and 133. How did I calculate? I use trigonometry. Yeah, I use trig. I will talk about that later. All right, so I calculated carefully. I find that location. Then going back, okay, going back, yeah. Then you don't need to close the region, the curve, the path. Yeah, the function will close for you. After that, you just fill. Okay, yeah. All right. So here, for the way to do it well, the hardest part is to figure out this location. That's the hardest part. Okay. Hardest part, you need to use the trig knowledge from your trig class. Yeah. Many of you may not be very familiar with that. Yeah. If you do not use trigonometry knowledge, then you need to do experiment. Then you need to try many times. But if you use the trig, you can do the calculation. Yeah. Because in trig, so you have angle. You have some angle here, right? So let's say 30 degree or pi over 6. Yeah. Okay. Pi over 6. Yeah. Radius r, right? Yeah. R, yeah. Here I use 80. Okay. 80 pixels I use. Then you can calculate the coordinates. Yeah. Because this center, you know the here I use 200, 100. 100. Okay. All right. So then x coordinate. So you can see what is x coordinate. 200 plus 80 radius times cosine. Yeah. Because based on the definition of the, right triangle, cosine pi over 6. Okay. So that one is approximately equal to 256. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. And then the y coordinate. Yeah. So you start from 100 plus the radius 80. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Actually, 65. Because this point, we do not use 80, all right? We use the 65 radius because it's the radius of the inner ring, so 65. Yeah. Otherwise, it does not look right. You use 65 radius. 65 times sine pi over 6. That's approximately to 133. Okay? Yeah. So if you have the trig background, you can just sine cosine, the definition of sine cosine. Yeah, that's simple. You do not need to use a lot of complicated knowledge part of the trigonometry. Yeah, just the basic sine cosine definition, so you can easily figure out the critical point. You need to move there. Then you define the outline of your region. Yeah, close, end point, starting point. The function will do it. You don't do it, then you fail the region. Then you make it. Okay? All right. So that's all the details you need to solve this programming problem. Okay? Yeah. Hope so this video can help you complete this project. Okay? All right. So let me just stop here. I hope in that 1 week extension, the remaining 12 students can complete all the questions in this project. All right, so let me finish this video.